Should you lift or should you run first? So just want to talk about this really quickly because I've gotten a few questions about it in the last few weeks, probably because I've mentioned it a few times as well, but also because you guys are curious. So when it comes to running and lifting, the science, there's the science, and then there's what works, and then there's what's going to fit into your life so that you can get both done. And there's what feels best for you. So I have been lifting and running back to back, lifting first, then running since 2016, winter of 2016, like December 2016, because that was I was already lifting and I wanted to figure out a way to run through the winter outside. I didn't have a treadmill. I wanted to continue with the progress that I had seen with 2016. I wasn't going to just stop running and wait until spring to pick back up. So I decided, I need to figure out a way to stay warm while running. And I started just doing a short warm up with jumping jacks and squats and everything in the garage before I headed out for my run. And I realized, why don't I just lift before I run? So that's what I started doing back in November, December 2016, and I've been doing that ever since. So my body has adjusted to that, and it wasn't like I just completely flipped and started doing it one day. I eased into it, and I was lifting a lot less back then. So ultimately, you need to do what's best for you. You need to do what's going to fit into your schedule so that you can get both done. Another reason I lift before I run is if I lift before I run, I know that I'm going to get out the door at a certain time in order to get my run in. And if I don't lift beforehand, I'm going to think about it all day and I'm going to procrastinate it and I'm going to keep on pushing it back. And a lot of times it doesn't get done, or it gets done at the last time in day before my husband gets home from work. So I hate that feeling. I hate thinking about it all day. I love the feeling of getting done with my run and my lift in the morning before anything else and not having to worry about it for the rest of the day. I love doing both of them, but I don't like thinking about it all day. So, number one, what's going to ensure that you get both your lifting and your running done? Number two, what feels best for you? Personally, since I've adjusted to it, my lifting beforehand does not impact my runs. Yes, if I'm lifting legs, I may have, my legs may feel a little heavy during my run, but really, I don't think it negatively impacts me at all. I think it positively affects me. We want our body to be fully warmed up, and we actually, when we warm up, we are stiffening our muscles, which allows our muscles to store more energy, which translates into more strength, more power, more speed, better runs. So I actually feel my best, and I do my best speed workouts after lifting legs. That's why I pair leg day with a speed workout. But again, you can't just jump into it. You have to allow your body to adjust. Also, if you do feel slightly tired from your workout and then you go run, personally, I think there's no negative to that as long as it's not detrimental to your run, but you can still run based on effort, and it's helping you practice running on tired legs or the second half of a race, okay? People say, do first whatever your priority is. If lifting is your priority, lift first. If running is your priority, run first. But I don't see any downside to lifting first if running is your priority or if lifting is your priority. If lifting is your priority, you are lifting your heaviest before you go run. You are using your glycogen stores up first with lifting because that's your first energy source, is your glycogen stores, which allows you to lift heavier. If running is your priority, you want to stay injury free, you want to run faster, you want to run stronger, you have to develop strength. Running does not develop strength lifting does. So you lift first and then you run, and there's no downside there. So just a lot of things to consider, but ultimately you need to do what's best for you. You need to do what's going to get both of them done. There are a few other runners, specifically up north, that I've talked to who also lift before they run, because it helps them stay consistent with their lifting. It ensures that it gets done, and it warms them up before the run. In the winter, it doesn't matter what time of year, it doesn't matter what weather you have. You could live in Texas and have it be 100+ degrees. You still have to do a warm-up before your run. Just do it inside. But that warm-up is going to serve the purpose of priming your body for movement, not like physically warming you up so that you're warmer outside, if that makes sense. My warm-up in the winter serves, like, it was just convenient. That's what I figured out what to do. But ultimately it is warming my body up, priming my body for the movement, for running, but it is also helping me internally warm up so that I prevent overdressing and it lessens the shock of the cold. I go outside and I'm not negatively impacted by the cold and or freeze. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions about lifting or running. If you want to try lifting before you run and you haven't, we need to ease you into it. If you want suggestions on what to do, please let me know. A lot of you have been asking me what days you should be lifting based on your run schedule, which is awesome. I'm more than happy to make suggestions based on your schedule, both life schedule and running schedule. But also to actually put in your calendar, like, this is the lift that you should be doing today based on this run, or you should not be lifting this day. And I'm going to explain it to you why I have it structured as it is, so that if you need to make adjustments, you understand. But big picture, we want you warmed up for your runs, whether you live in a cold climate or hot climate, doesn't matter. We want to prime your body for the movement of running, and when we warm up, it actually creates stiffness in our muscles, which allows our muscles to store more energy, which translates into better running form, more efficient running, allowing like your calves to store more energy to facilitate the push-off. So we have the warm-up aspect of lifting, but we also need to stay injury-free. We need to continue to support our body through the training process, but also through life. Like, remember, the lifts that we're doing are very functional. It's not just for running, it's supporting our daily lives. As you age, lifting supports maintaining the bone density, the bone structure that you have, so that does not decrease as you age, which is generally what happens unless you are lifting. So obviously I could talk forever on this, but I just wanted to address the question of, should I be lifting or running first? I'm going to tell you what I do and why I do it, but ultimately we need to figure out what works best with your schedule, with your training, so that it all gets done.